especially Okay. Testing 1, 2.
13th, and we will begin with our public statement. We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear. And we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC. And with that, we have a proclamation today.
This is the proclamation for National Agriculture Week and Monroe County celebration of Monroe County Soil and Waters Conservation District's 80th anniversary. So, whereas 80 years ago in April 1943, Monroe County landowners gathered and voted to form the Monroe County Soil Conservation District, marking the desire of the landowners to protect and preserve the agricultural land and natural resources of Monroe County. And on November 5th, 1943, the state of Indiana certified the incorporation of Monroe County Soil Conservation District as a subdivision of the state of Indiana government. And on May 9th, 1946, the state of Indiana approved a certification presented by the Board of Supervisors of Monroe County Soil Conservation District to increase the soil conservation territory to include the entire county as the boundary for the Soil Conservation District. This was supported by the State Soil Conservation Committee.
And in 1961, the state of Indiana charged Monroe County Soil Conservation District, changed Monroe County Soil Conservation District to Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District. And protection of Monroe County's natural resources through conservation of our agricultural lands has been an important focus for Monroe County landowners and political parties over 80 years. And soil and water conservation was started through direct focus of stopping soil erosion on agricultural lands and improving the water quality of all watersheds that lay within the boundaries of Monroe County.
Whereas the theme of Ag Week 2024 is Growing a Climate for Tomorrow, and the Soil and Water Conservation District is focusing on the future of preserving and protecting our natural resources and agricultural lands in Monroe County with the ever-changing climate. Now, therefore, we, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, do hereby recognize the week of March 17th to 23rd, 2024 as National Agriculture Week in celebration of the 80th anniversary of the Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District. Right. With that, we will move on to our department updates. First, we have Health Department.
Good morning. I'm Mike Kazimka with the Monroe County Health Department. I'm the Environmental Services Manager, but I'll be giving the updates today. In Monroe County, COVID emergency room visits, hospital admissions, and wastewater concentration levels have all decreased as of March 6th. Flu activity across Indiana is still noted as high, and there has been a total report of 135 flu-related deaths so far this season. The Public Health Clinic has vaccines available for all ages. Please call 812-353-3244 for more information and to schedule an appointment. The department is working with their community health assessments and has an upcoming community conversation sessions March 14th from 4 to 5 at the Steinsville Mercantile. Other sessions will be held at the Banneker Center on April 4th, 6 to 7.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's see if there's any comments or questions. Commissioner Githens?
No, thank you for being here.
Commissioner Jones?
Can you tell us a bit about what the listening sessions are about?
I think they're just doing community outreach and getting more information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome.
being here.
Have a good morning.
You too. Are there other departments that wish to offer an update? There we go. kind of a
Hey, Andrew, could you have John Baton become a presenter?
So Mr. Baton is our GIS coordinator, and he has graciously, so graciously, agreed to help us develop the tutorial and the input for the Indiana Broadband Office Challenge. We have a short window of time for all residents of Monroe County to check and verify their internet, not just access, but speed. And Mr. Baton has been amazing in this project. So please, if you would.
Yeah, hi, everybody. So yeah, excited to kind of give an overview for the Monroe County Broadband Challenge. As Commissioner Thomas mentioned, it's a very short time period. It's about a month. This thing is going to expire on April 14th. The goal of this is to identify locations across Monroe County that are included on the FCC's broadband map. And what that means is locations that the FCC has determined to have adequate broadband capability right now, meaning that their speeds for internet are above 100 megabytes per second download time and above 20 megabytes per second upload time. The reason for this is because there is a federal program called BEAD, which is the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, which got $42 billion in 2021 to expand and kind of strengthen broadband internet connectivity across the United States. What they use is the FCC's map to identify locations that they actually want to allocate these funds. So they're targeting places that are not included on the map, meaning that what we're trying to do is identify places that are included on the map to make sure that this allocation is distributed equitably across Monroe County. So what we've done in the GIS division with the help of TSD is created this, essentially it's a story map that's embedded within the Monroe County main website. Giving some information about what the challenge is, and then also some links to whether you're on the map and how the challenge process actually kind of takes place. This is a very convoluted process, and it's very, very kind of cumbersome, and it puts a lot of baggage on participants, right? So to participate, you need to be on the map. To identify if you're on the map, you basically go to this site here, and hopefully it will load. It did a second ago. And you type your address in, or you can just zoom into the map itself. I'm just going to type in 501 North Morton Street because that is where I work, the Showers building. And you can see it clicks here. It's going to zoom into the map and it will say, congratulations, you're on the map, take place in the Broadband Challenge. What the public needs to do is, if they want to partake in this, they need to click on the link, and then they also need to not just click on the link and fill out some data about who they are and their IP address and their internet provider. They need to take 3 internet speed tests on 3 consecutive days, take screenshots of that, and upload all of that information back into the survey itself. This is what the survey looks like. And thanks to my colleague, Irina Valentin-Bolin, we've devised a code that actually will aggregate all of this data into a nice package that we can ship back to the Indiana Broadband Office when we're completed. Again, this is a very short time period. The process is convoluted. The process is cumbersome. We did not design the process. We're just going through the steps and trying to make it as streamlined as possible for Monroe County residents. And so the goal of this is to identify places that the FCC says has access, but they don't. And I know a lot of people do have broadband right now, but those speeds that they're receiving are not at that threshold that makes broadband actually functional. So that's the goal. We're hoping people can participate. We have an email, which is broadband@co.monroe.in.us. I've butchered that many times. I recorded a tutorial yesterday. It's 51 megabytes. It needs to get down to 50 megabytes, so I need to compress it. I will have that uploaded onto our website today. We have a phone number as well that I think will be published on the website. Yeah, and that's kind of it. If you guys have any questions for me or.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, thank you so much for this. It is difficult to understand and difficult for people to really grasp why it's so important. So I hope that whoever discovers this will let their neighbors and friends know, and it'll help Monroe County a whole lot if a lot of people participate.
Commissioner Gissens?
Yes, I actually did part of your beta testing over the weekend, and one of the things that I found I do want to let people know that you've got a link embedded also that'll take them to one of the speed test sites, which is really, really nice. But I found out when I just did this as a beta test that I'm not getting what I'm paying for. I am getting 100 megs per second, but I'm supposed to be getting a gig. And so I'm going to take the 3-day test and do this. But it's not just the download speed. You said it's also the upload speed.
Correct. Yep. So it's there's 3 different categories that the FCC has. It's served, underserved, and unserved. And there's a little bit of weirdness with that. Being served means you're above 100 megabytes per second download, 20 megabytes per second upload. Underserved means you're between 99 download, 19 upload, and 26 download. I'm not a mathematician. Basically, anything below 100, you're qualified to become an eligible participant. So, yeah.
And it's very painless. It's very quick to actually do the speed. It took maybe 2 minutes altogether, both download and upload.
Yeah. And again, this is really so well done, and we are really encouraging everybody who the FCC thinks is served and served sufficiently to participate, because this is our opportunity to get access to federal dollars through the state, because the state then, if there's a challenge and it's considered sufficient, which is not for us to determine, but after the data is uploaded, what we have is a situation where the state then has to find a provider that will provide that basic minimum coverage. Now, for folks who already lack sufficient service, they know they lack it, they don't have to do anything because there's nothing to challenge. But this is a very convoluted process. The state made it this way. I don't know why. Fortunately, they've extended the deadline to mid-April because initially it was supposed to be, early April. So that's a good thing. So what folks will see is we have a postcard that's going to go to the mailboxes of everyone who is eligible to challenge, meaning anyone that's on that list who is listed as receiving service and sufficient service in terms of speed. So that will be another reminder to folks to do this. I will also note that we are sending these postcards to all county residents, whether they live in the city or not. So that's an important thing as well to note. I really appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you. I want to mention one more thing. For folks that are considered to be underserved or unserved, the FCC knows that already. You would show up on the map potentially as a red dot. You click on that red dot and it's going to say, well, I did it too fast. Your location is already known. You don't need to do anything. Theoretically, you're going to get broadband at some time. I also want to thank Venkat from TSD for setting up our website, which is https://www.co.monroe.in.us/broadband. So it's a little bit more intuitive. Anyways.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing from you again in the future. Thank you. We have a lot of work to do to get the word out. Is there any other department that wishes to offer an update at this time? Okay. Our jail commander.
Hello, everyone. Just want to give you a quick update as to the jail, the facility itself. We've got 214 total jail population, 164 felony, 35 misdemeanor, and we have 15 other holds. Our secure bed count's 183, so well below our standard that we're looking at there for the case there. In the last 48 hours, 21 bookings. There are 15 releases in the last 48 hours. So the numbers themselves, the felony, 164 inmates, that's 77% of our facility. So you can kind of see that pretrial release program being at 35, which is 16% of our facility, is getting people in and out that are safe to come back out, and it's working correctly. So kudos to the judges on that, especially, and all the work that the public defender's office and everybody else does with probation and everything. One issue that I wanted to call to your attention, and we don't talk about this very often because it's just part of the job. When we have people that have to go to the hospital and they have to be admitted to the hospital, our staff has to go to the hospital as well, and that's 24-hour coverage. So I wanted to give a kudos to the facility itself and the people that work there. It's something through the council and giving us that pay raise and giving people incentive to work here, and them providing that work throughout our tenure so far, that everybody's stepping up. The commissioners, the council, the office itself. So what I want to get into a little bit after that is mental health. To give you a rundown on that, we haven't really given one since February. We have 45 severely mentally ill residents. That's down from 50 in February, 20% of the population, which is down from 23% in February. We have 52 inmates on psychotropic medication. So you can kind of see it's an issue that's come down since February, but it's an issue that's on the rise as a whole. So when we're looking at building a new facility, mental health obviously is something we've all spoke about in depth. It's not backing off. It's something we need to remain focused on when moving forward. I don't need to tell you guys that. We've had these conversations, but looking at our mental health division, are those people providing those medical services through our contract. We have 2 people right now. We always talk about how we're reactive in what we have to do because we're so busy with evaluations, intake, making sure people have proper care. What they've begun to do and what little time they have is they began dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. Essentially, it's a group therapy session that they've worked with 8 to 12 residents, depending on who wants to partake in that. It's not forced. It's something that we're working these people back into a position so they can go into general population, so they can have a normal stay at the facility, so they can have a normal release into the public. They're doing a good job in that. There's incentive-based stuff. We work with them. We just had a cleanest cell competition. These are people that are wanting to get back. They're on their medication. They're working towards that end goal. So when we look into getting more people to help with that process, it only benefits the entire population itself. Staffing report, we're fully staffed. We've had 1 resignation in the last 90 days, and that person just moved back to Northern Indiana, moved back with family. So we're doing a pretty good job in that, in keeping people at the job, and which speaks to the work that all of us have done as a county. Facility update, the new dryer, thanks to you guys, has been installed. We're working on getting some bugs out, but it's an extra dryer that we did not have before. So things are moving a lot faster. Before, we had to purchase almost triple the amount in uniforms because we didn't have enough equipment to wash them and get them back to inmates. So instead of making the inmate wait, we just give them new stuff and we work on the backside. So that should help that process and save us money in the long run. The new stove has been ordered, again, through you guys. It's not been delivered yet. Apparently that takes a long time because it's been weeks since we've ordered it. But you guys all know how shipping and stuff like that works in today's day and age. Moving forward, the sheriff signed an MOU with the fairgrounds, and we're working towards a temporary offsite housing in the event of evacuation. So thank you to the Fair Board President Jake Conrad. We couldn't do it without the people in the community, and that's how the commissioners, how the council, how we as the sheriff's office, we want to utilize the community in what we do operationally. So that's working really well. Sanitation refurbishment. In April 23, we began phase 1, and that's cells, windows, floors, the whole gauntlet. We've spoken in depth about this. We're in phase 2 now, where we're trying to get in and get the floors redone. Obviously, you guys know with any refurbishment, there's upkeep. We found the funds to make that work, so it's moving pretty well right now. We changed the property storage system. There were issues that we found when we came in, things getting lost, things getting overlooked. In any facility, you'll find that that's one of the primary issues people have is, 1, storage, the space, and 2, making sure that when somebody brings in something, they go out with it when they're upon their release. So you guys are invited to come by and take a look at it. It's taking a lot of work, and we're still in the middle of trying to make that work. But I want to do something new today, and I'm wrapping it up because I know it's just department updates. But we have 63 full-time staff, 7 part-time staff, and when we do this, we constantly hear about the sheriff, the work he's done, or the chief deputy, or the work that I've done. And it's important to say publicly, we don't get anything done without the work of these guys. I've got Officer Wood here. He's been on with us since January 23. He's already been trained in multiple positions at the department, so he's cruising right along. I've got Officer Fig with us. He's been here since July 21. These are the guys, and again, we're going to try to bring more people more often so you guys can see who exactly is working with us. These are the guys doing the work. I can make a decision and I can help, but I couldn't get anything done without these guys. So I wanted to make sure that we took the opportunity to let the public see who it is that's out here doing the work behind the scenes. We have good people, highly trained people. So thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
One thing that we've done is we changed the hiring process. Everybody used to come in at part-time. They would go through their training and then they would get equipped and they would move forward with that. What we've done is we hired everybody full-time, give them everything they need right at the beginning, give them training right at the beginning. And then our part-time that we hire, we get them trained up. If we lose a full-time officer, we have somebody step right into that full-time role without any delay. It's working well so far. There's obviously, I can't hire 80 part-timers. We don't have the budget for that, but we've got 7 right now, and that's going really well. So that's the staffing update. You guys have any questions for me?
Thank you so much. It's great to have staff recognized along the way as well. Comments or questions from my colleagues? Go ahead.
Well, I think you're being a bit modest. Last night, the sheriff and chief were at the council meeting, and they were lauding your procedures that you put in place for the hiring, and that's one of the reasons that you've been fully staffed. And they also said you're the person that has implemented the process and what's been done for the property.
Well, I did watch that, and the chief deputy's here today. He said he hates to give me credit, was what he said.
Yeah, he did.
So they may have lauded me with a backsided compliment, but yes, and again, this is a team effort. These decisions were made because I had specific staffing in place that I could make those decisions. So.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
It's hard to follow that guy. I'm Corey Grass, again, a jail transition team director. I was told I talked really fast yesterday, which is a given of all these years. I know this. I was told I ran a little long, maybe a little long-winded, so I'll try to be much more condensed for you guys today. Just to overly summarize everything, I think we're making great progress working with you guys, the council, all the entities of the community. We did tour the Franklin County facility last week or week before. And as you heard me say yesterday, it was overwhelmingly great. It was too much to take in. Like, I probably need to go back or talk to these guys more and stay in touch. And I think you guys have seen the facility there. I'm not sure what we can afford or what level we'll shoot for at that, but it was eye-opening. It was a fantastic trip. Scott Carnegie, again from DLZ, has proven to be the linchpin that can set all these things up. He knows everybody on the site. He was like working the crowd. He fits in everywhere we go and helps us keep us on that path. Kind of to tie in what Kyle talked about, I think we had some great progress last night with the council about trying to backfill some staff or add some new staff to start increasing the size of our team, because I think our workload is going to increase pretty substantially and pretty quickly, which is a good thing. It's what we're shooting for, right? We're starting to make some progress on the site, maybe some progress on number of staffings, the policies. So I'm excited about where we sit right now. The progress seems great. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you guys have or hear any comments you might have.
Thank you so much. Comments,
you.
questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
I took a lot of pictures when I was at Franklin County Jail, so if you need a refresher, let me know.
Thank you. Feel free to share them. I also got some from Councilor Iverson last night, and I took a bunch also. And it's actually, he was there a year plus ago, so it's improved even since then. This stuff is all in place, and the outside facade's amazing. The internal the policies, the time and effort they put into it, as you know, is just fantastic.
And I was skimming through stuff last evening even, and what was amazing is the signage that they had up everywhere. Like, you are in the Franklin County Jail, so if you're calling out, this is where you're located. I mean, it was very thorough.
Everything about how to wear your uniform properly, when you can use the phones, where your status is in the booking process. You don't have to ask 1,000 questions. You don't have to bother the staff so they can work. About the clocks, such a simple thing for the clocks.
Yeah.
And again, they talked about repetition doesn't create validity, and they've challenged their own systems, and they seem to have grown quite a bit.
Well, and it made everything feel calm.
I love showing, again, it hasn't been the areas we were in mostly, we're not housed with inmates yet, but I love showing people the picture and saying, what do you think this is? And it looks like, maybe a doctor's office waiting room. It's very clean and clinical looking, and no, that's a cell block. That's where they will interact with the staff. That's where the program will take place. It's pretty impressive.
I agree. I think the processes are really well done there, and I think there's a lot we could learn from that. So, yeah, excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Please. Sure. We have an update from Rural Transit.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, great. Thank you for waiting.
Awesome, thank you so much. I wanted to just give a first quarter update and then take any questions you might have, because I know that there are other things going on related to rural transit in the county. Our January through December 2023 numbers total as a 4-county system was 41,536 trips, which is about 8% increase from 2022 system-wide. Of that, 14,519 of those trips were Monroe County, and that's about 35% of the total 4-county system trips. That is an increase over 2022. So Monroe County actually saw an increase in the trips as a whole from 2022 to 2023 of about 47%. I didn't introduce myself. So I'm Chris Myers with Area 10 Agency on Aging. And I just realized that probably because I was getting right to the business, and I know you've got a big agenda. I wanted to also say that the electric transit buses that we have, it's the first winter, of course, that we went through that. So just to kind of give you a heads up, what they say about electric batteries and reduction in miles is true. So it has definitely affected over the winter the amount of trips that we had to kind of facilitate with using those vehicles. So we would actually do half of a route, bring one in, send another one out, and plug it in for the rest of the day, just so it was ready. The worst was when it was, of course, 0 degrees, and thankfully we didn't have too many like that. But typically we're looking at about 100 miles with the type of demand that we have on those vehicles per day. In the spring and fall, when the weather's the best, it's about 120 miles that we get. But of course, the cost is way down versus the gas vehicles. On drivers, I want to say that we're doing okay. We have 3 full-time drivers that we really need to get. Part of that is because we're covering this urban to urban area and have not backfilled those roles. So the full-time drivers that we're having to do for that, are covering those. We also had a long time, one of our longer drivers, he's been with us 18 years, has retired in January. So that was a big hit for us as well. So certainly if anyone knows anybody who might be a good fit for a rural transit, send them my way. And then just as a brief update on the urbanized area, so that's the urbanized area trips for January and February. We count separately, of course, the ones that are touching Ellettsville one way or the other. January, there were 267 trips. In February, there are 251, so a total of 518 trips for the Ellettsville urban to urban. And then Monroe County, the other part of that urban to urban transit system, we have 244 trips from January and 300 even for February, for a total of 544. So there are people using that, of course, parallel service, and obviously counting on that, and really appreciate the Monroe County's support in keeping that going and working tirelessly to find a solution long-term. And Julie has spent a great amount of time coming to meetings and extra time, and I'm very grateful for that, as well as Trent Deckard. So thank you for that support.
Thank you so much, Ms. Myers. We appreciate all your hard work. You've really done an amazing job of getting folks to the Ellettsville Town Council meeting this week. Sadly, it seems like we have to keep working on that aspect of the funding. And it's disappointing that they haven't definitively stepped up to provide service for the remainder of 2024. And so here we are continuing to ask them for that funding to get us through 2024 instead of working on what happens after 2024, which is what we really should be focusing on right now. So that's an unfortunate thing, but we certainly do appreciate your hard work. Let's see if there's any comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
I think one of the things that Council President Trent Decker stressed last night, that these aren't frivolous trips that people are making. These are the urban to urban are people going to work, they're going to doctor's appointments, they're getting their groceries. I mean, they're not just sitting on the bus to take a ride. Mm-hmm. And so we need to be able to support our residents to make these things happen.
Absolutely.
One of the things we saw during COVID was that the hospital stopped what they called voluntary or non-emergency surgeries, and people got sicker. And so if people can't get to the doctor's offices when they need to, we're just setting people up for worse conditions. And so we got to keep these kinds of things in mind too.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. These are people going to work, going to the pharmacy, going to the grocery store, going to appointments for doctors and other medical related issues. And this is their lifeline, and this is door-to-door service. This isn't some stranger in an Uber or Lyft. This is somebody who's going to make sure they get safely into the van and get safely to their destination and help them in and out in a way that no other service provides outside of the City of Bloomington BT Access. So I really appreciate all your hard work, and let's hope that we're going to have some good news for the community in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
All right. Any other department updates? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to public comment. This agenda item is reserved for public comment for items that are not on our agenda. We ask each presenter to limit their comments to 3 minutes per person. Please identify yourself and your county of residence. We'll start here in the Nat U Hill room. And we have somebody online. I cannot see the full name. It probably is, but I don't know, so I'm not going to say. I don't have that screen. Okay, great. So, Mr. MG from the Chamber of Commerce.
Hey, good morning, commissioners, distinguished staff. Christopher MG from the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. And hearing Chris Myers and her update on rural transit, I just want to echo her sentiments. Thank Commissioner Thomas, Councilmember Deckard for their tireless work on this issue of transportation. These are essential rides that people need to make. As Commissioner Givens noted, these are doctor's appointments, trips to the grocery store, their jobs. I was moved at the Ellettsville Town Council meeting on Monday from the testimony from the riders, from a driver, from a parent of a rider. I just want to thank everyone for their work on that, and I think it's going to come to a positive conclusion. I wish that was the case right now, but keep doing the hard work that this entails. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have public comment to offer for items not on our agenda?
Good morning. I just got a couple of comments. I don't have nothing written down, you know.
Could you introduce yourself?
Oh, Daryl Rubel.
Okay.
I'd like to, make a big speech and everything, but I just want to just lay it out here the way it is. I've got a daughter in jail here at Monroe County, Laura Bothell Rubel, my daughter. I'm her main supporter. I'm her father. I'm her only supporter, really. But I go to the jail every Monday to put commissary on her books religiously. That's my daughter. I care deeply, and she made a couple horrible mistakes, and she's probably gonna pay for them. But she's a great person, and I'm gonna stand by her the whole way. But anyway, getting to the jail, when I go there to make commissary, they had this commissary machine that's about 3 feet off the ground. It's impossible to use. I have to get down on my knees to use that machine because it's real sensitive. When you push the buttons on it, it's real sensitive. And I talked to Mr. Branham in the Sheriff's Department, Corporal Stevenson, to see if they could raise that machine off the ground to where you could use it, because I don't know how anybody used it. You'd have to be 2 foot tall to be able to use that thing, And I didn't like bending over and getting on my knees, I'll do that for certain things, but I didn't like that. But man, them guys were right on that. Mr. Branham at the Sheriff's Department, Corporal Stevenson, and I really appreciate that because I'm going to probably be going there for a while because Laura's got herself in a pickle, and I'm going to support her, but I'm going to keep going back there. But they're going to raise that thing. I really appreciate that. Let's see. I should have wrote a bunch of stuff down, but oh yeah, I was down there Monday, just the previous Monday, and I went in and put commissary on my daughter's books, and I come out of the jail, the back lobby there, and I run into a gentleman who was out there taking a break. He's who makes the jail look good. The jail's looking better. They're giving them microwaves in the cell blocks. They're giving the people come in to detox mattresses now, which they used to make people lay on the concrete floors, which I thought was kind of primitive, kind of inhumane. But I was talking to him, and he impressed me with his honesty and his goodwill toward the people that are in the jail. I could sense that he really cared about his job. And them's the people that make the jail look good. It was Officer Evans. I think his first name. First time I ever met Mr. Evans, Tony Evans, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. Can you wrap up because you're at 3 minutes?
Okay.
Thank you.
I really appreciate all them guys. They've all been real good to me.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for taking the time to be here today
Okay.
and sharing the story, and thanks for being a good dad.
Yeah, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, good luck
Okay,
with everything.
thanks. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Does anyone else have comment to offer for items not on our agenda?
My name is Dallas Condor. I'm a co-supervisor, co-chairman of Monroe County Soil and Water, and we appreciate your proclamation and all the support you have gave us on programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. All right. Seeing no other public commenters, we will move on to our next agenda item, please.
Yes, I move approval of the minutes from March 6, 2024, and from the executive session of February 27, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, corrections, edits? Okay, great. All those in favor of approving the minutes from March 6, 2024 and February 27, 2024 executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket for accounts payable March 13th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second, and we have Ms. Gillardo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, from the auditor's office.
Yes, you pronounced it correctly. Good morning. The accounts payable claims docket for March 13, 2024 totals $4,232,687 and 92 cents. This includes all emergency claims and adjustments.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Githens?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Right. Thank you for being here today. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. See none. All those in favor of approving the claims docket accounts payable March 13th, 2024 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We did not receive any reports today, and let's move on to new business. The first thing on our agenda is the opening of employee clinic requests for proposals. Who has that? Thank you so much. You need help? All right.
I will just open and then read the name of the
Great.
people. This one is written on here, actually. It's a proposal for Wellness Center Services to Monroe County Government from Ascension St. Vincent. So,
thank you.
There. Oh my. This one.
You need scissors?
You have them? Offhand?
Oh, I saw some in one of these drawers.
Wait a minute. I'm getting it.
There should be a perforation on that edge.
There is.
But they taped it.
But they taped it, yes.
I said should be.
They taped it. Oh, good Lord. Anybody have a Connecticut? Making me sweat.
We're good, E. Got
There's
it.
more. Who knows what? This is from Proactive. Thank you. Thank you so much. And this is from Quad Med. Another. Oh, okay. It met the timeline. Okay.
Thank you, E.
Yes, thank you. Franciscan Health. Marathon Health. Marathon has recently acquired our current vendor, which is Everside. This looks like it is also Marathon. Let me just confirm. Reference multiple packages, but let's just make sure. also a second version for Marathon, so part 2.
Great. Is that it?
That is it.
That was fun. I'm coming to your place for the holidays next year just to watch you unwrap packages. I'm going to make a motion that we take these under advisement and ask that they be brought back with a recommendation in the future.
I'll second that.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. All those in favor of taking these requests for proposal under advisement signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have a, is Mr. Schilling here? Or Ms. Turner King, are you managing the public hearing on ordinance 2024-07?
I can.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, go ahead with the next item, please.
I move approval of vacation of the roadway East Bryant's Creek Road. This will be ordinance 2024-07.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. If you could tell us about it first, and then I will open up the motion for public hearing.
So a petition was received from NDOT to request the vacation of a portion of East Bryant Creek Road between North I-69 and State Road 37. It's approximately 1.597 miles of roadway. It's a gravel road. Originally, East Bryant Creek, this portion of East Bryant's Creek Road was removed and closed due to the construction of I-69. A mitigation site was put in place as part of the I-69 project at the now dead-end section of East Bryant's Creek Road that Morgan Monroe Forest Service will be maintaining in an agreement with NDOT. Notice was sent to the property owners and published on February 27th. So this is the public hearing portion as required by statute.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I will now go ahead and open the public hearing on ordinance 2024-07. First, I will see if there's any comments or questions from my colleagues. Commissioner Githens?
I couldn't tell from the map. Will this, if we vacate this roadway, are there people that use this to get to and from their homes? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, but I can look to see if I can find a different map that might be able to provide that information.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Okay. Let's see if there's anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor of ordinance 2024-07. You can come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room or raise your hand on Teams.
Can I see something else? If this was all in mitigation property, then the state owns it. Is that correct? So it shouldn't impact anybody's private property?
I think that's correct.
Okay.
What they're offering here is that someone else will maintain it. Vacating the right of way from our inventory doesn't mean that the roadway disappears. It's just that a different entity will be maintaining it.
Thank you. So that takes it over.
And I think the entity is the Morgan Monroe State Forest.
The State Forest, right, not NDOT, right. Let's see if there's anyone who wishes to speak in opposition to this petition. Come to the podium in Nat U Hill room or raise your hand on Teams. Any other public comment on this item? Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing on ordinance 2024-07. See if there's any final comments or questions from my colleagues.
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens? Okay. Do you feel like your question was addressed so that you can feel comfortable with it? Okay, great. All right, with that, I will call for a vote on ordinance 2024-07, the vacation of roadway East Bryant's Creek Road. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much. All right. Next item, please.
Move approval of Harold Fish, Inc. HVAC system replacement, fund name, cumulative capital, fund number 1138, in an amount of $29,840.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Kreider, please tell us all about this.
Good morning, Commissioners. Richard Kreider, Facilities and Fleet. The next two agenda requests are for the highway garage, the highway department. The HVAC system needs replaced. Usually I give you guys some pictures to go along with the agenda request, and I failed to do that this time. But it's all equipment that's original to the facility, and it's nearing 30 years old, and it's time to update. This request is to approve the proposal from HFI in the amount of $29,840 to replace the upstairs air conditioning system at the highway department. The scope of work includes demolition and removal of the current indoor and outdoor heating and cooling equipment, installing efficient two-stage heating and cooling equipment, removing ductwork from a unit that is no longer in use, installing a large portable dehumidifier necessary for the conditions in the mechanical room. And then I want to select alternate 2, and that's installing a new electrical service panel to supply power to the new equipment. There's currently electrical service there, but we will max out the panel, and I think moving forward it'd be better just to have a brand new panel.
Agreed. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any comments or questions from my colleagues. Commissioner Jones.
No, I don't, but thank you for taking care of this.
Commissioner Githens.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the contract with Harold Fish, Inc. for HVAC system replacement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of Harold Fish, Inc. water heater replacement, fund name, cumulative capital, fund number 1138, in an amount of $2,050.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Please tell us about this one, Mr. Kreider.
Again, this piece of equipment is original to the facility. This request is to approve the proposal submitted by HFI in the amount of $2,050 to replace the water heater in the Monroe County Highway Department. The scope of work includes draining and removal of existing water heater, installing new 50-gallon natural gas water heater, and modifying the gas and water lines to supply the new equipment.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens.
It seems very straightforward.
Yeah. Commissioner Jones.
No, I don't.
All right, excellent. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. None. All those in favor of approving the Harold Fish, Inc. water heater replacement signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of Resolution 2024-11, multiple department surplus property.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second, Mr. Kreider.
This request is to approve items for surplus from community corrections, probation, parks and recreation, and other items in storage that are damaged and unclaimed. Community corrections, obsolete home monitoring devices that have been replaced with new. Disposal location to be determined. I actually want to update that. We're going to send that equipment back to the manufacturer for recycle. They've sent us prepaid, slips and all that, so that'll be pretty easy. Probation, leaking department refrigerator that'll be replaced with new. The refrigerator will be disposed of by either new appliance vendor or recycle center by the maintenance department. Parks and recreation, pending park board approval, end-of-life landscaping equipment, and a concrete saw. Those items will be auctioned on govdeals.com. Scrap metal pile, including an end-of-life broadcast spreader, fencing, grill parts, signs, sign posts, and other metal pieces will be sold as scrap to a salvage yard. Damaged and unclaimed furniture inside the storage shed at Cars Farm Park, which includes a keyboard, air fryer, and refrigerator that will be taken to the Monroe County Recycle Center. a basketball goal that will be sold on govdeals.com, 4 metal carts, and a broken locker that will be sold to scrap to salvage yard, carpet tile remnants, 4 petition walls, 4 tables, desk parts, and shelves will be taken to a dumpster.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
Again, this all seems very straightforward.
Great. Thank you for managing all of this. I appreciate the recycling efforts. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in the Nat Uho room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-11 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much.
Thank
Next
you.
item, please.
Move approval of the amendment to Beacon Inc. 2022 Sophia Travis Grant Agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Turner King, are you going to tell us about this one?
Yes, this is a request that the Sophia Travis Grant Committee received from Beacon. Beacon originally was granted a 2022 Sophia Travis Grant, and they were using the funds to train on-staff members to be CPR instructors. They eventually, due to circumstances outside of their control, they completed that, and now they have their staff members trained, and so they and they had some extra funds. So they're requesting to use the extra funds to allow the now on-staff instructors to provide CPR training to the other staff members. And then they would also be purchasing CPR and first aid supplies. So the Sophia Travis Grant Committee heard a request from Beacon to extend the purpose of their grant funds and the time for which they can use it. Both Sophia Travis Grant Committee and the council approved Beacon's request, and now it's coming to the commissioners for approval of the amendment to the contract.
Great. Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Githens?
I actually drive past Shalom Center on a regular basis, and I think both last week and the week before I saw ambulances outside. So these kinds of skills from the staff, I think, are critical.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, I'm just glad that they'll be able to use the extra money and for the benefit of their program.
I'm glad that this is moving forward. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in the Nat U Hill room. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the amendment to Beacon Inc. 2022 Sophia Travis Grant Agreement signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of the MetLife Dental Contract Agreement, fund name, self-insurance, fund number 4700, and an amount which varies.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. We have our Employee Services. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. So this is an amendment to the MetLife contract because MetLife is a new vendor for us for the dental plan. And when employees started going to the dentist at the beginning of the year, we found out that fluoride was not being covered in the same way that it had in the past with our previous provider. And that was because we went back and we reviewed that contract with the old provider and the new provider. And our intention with the MetLife plan was to keep the cost low and keep our coverage the same. So then we had to review why there was that difference. And when we reviewed that with dental, we found out that typically industry standard is to not cover fluoride in adults. And so with most dental plans, that's not covered. But at some point with the previous plan, when we made and when we got a new contract with them, it was inadvertently covered on that plan. And so MetLife, so we found that out, and MetLife is going to make sure that we are getting the same coverage that we had in the past. So while it may not be industry standard, they're still going to cover that because it was covered under our old plan, and our intention is to keep all of the coverage the same. So that's all this amendment is doing. but also I appreciate employees that have, pointed this out to us so we could investigate that a little bit more and make sure that we were giving them the same standard of coverage.
Thank you so much. What a great work. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
I actually want to compliment E. Sensenstein. Your response to employees is incredible in dealing with these challenges. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate the investigation that you did. It's so important to be responsive like that. That's really, really great. So kudos. All right. So let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the, I would call it an amendment to the MetLife dental contract agreement, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
With approval of Steel Benefits Client Services Agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. E, tell us about this one.
This one is a little complicated for me, talking about these technical things. But so I think it was in 2020, we started using Steel Benefits as our benefit website provider. And at that time, they couldn't license the website without using an additional insurance company. And so if you log on to our website and you see it has the Guardian logo and the URL has Guardian in the name. And so a few months ago, I came and we talked about the MetLife contract and how we would receive a tech subsidy from them that we were going to send to both our benefit brokers at Apex and to Steel Benefits because they can apply that to the technical side of things, the administration of the tech stuff that they do. And so we are looking to amend our contract with Steel Benefits to apply that tech subsidy towards licensing the website so that it no longer will have that Guardian stuff on it and the URL will be unique to us and we can sort of customize the website a little bit more towards Monroe County government. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It actually does. Thank you so much. E. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens? No. Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
So for county employees, they're still just going to use their same username and password. They may have a different link to follow. But
yes, I do think the link will change, but everything else, even like when you get into the website, it should all look the same. It'll really just be us customizing that landing page.
Great. Great work. Excellent.
And just also, we're still going to get with that tech subsidy. It's gonna offset the cost of having the license, but we're still going to receive a reduced amount on our invoice. So there's still cost savings there to us.
That's great. No, anything that helps clarify benefits is good because that's just
it is a little confusing when people go to that web and they're and it says Guardian. That has been some feedback I've gotten over the years. Yeah.
Sure. Excellent. Okay, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Steel Benefits Client Services Agreement signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much. Appreciate your patience today. All right, next item, please.
Approval of Comcast Internet Agreement for Election Operations, Fund Name, Cumulative Capital, Fund Number 1138, in an amount of $5,299.55.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Crone, tell us all about it, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Our current internet agreement with Comcast for 302 South Walnut election operations, or as everybody lovingly calls it, the old Napa building, is about to expire at the end of this month. I did do a package pricing. I think everyone's familiar dealing with Comcast with their own home internet and cable. They offer different packages at different times for different rates. So this package will provide 2 years of service at 1.2 gigabits of service on download speed. It's important to note that not only does that internet connection provide for elections operations during elections time, but our security systems, fire monitoring, security cameras, all of those rely on that system in order to communicate. So this is for a 2-year agreement. If we went with a single-year agreement, we would be paying more per month. And if we continued into 25, we'd have to pay for a package change and all that. So it would have resulted in a higher cost to not taking on this 2-year agreement.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
I think I was one of the people that asked you why we're doing a 2-year agreement, but since you talk about the fact that this is part of our security and the fire alerts and things like that, we don't know how long we're going to be maintaining that building, but we certainly should maintain it responsibly. So I appreciate this.
Yeah, it's great. Great work. I appreciate that, and your timely response to my question as well, which was the same as like, we don't have an election in 2025. Why are we paying for this? All right, thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium and Nat, you help. Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Comcast Internet Agreement for election operations signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Move approval of next request, public records request program, fund name, cumulative capital, fund number 1138, in an amount not to exceed $20,379.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Crone, tell us about this.
Yes. At current, Monroe County has not adopted a formal open records, public records request for our system. Most of the public submits a written email request to the departments or to county legal, which then has to be dispersed to the responsible departments to do that record search and then return that information back to county legal, who then has to redact the information manually using Adobe Pro, which is not real conducive to large record requests. That has to be broken down in roughly 100-page documents, redacted, and then move it on in sections. So if you start talking about a large packet, it can take several days. Ms. Turner will attest to this as she's been on the receiving end of having to do that. This will provide a public portal that can be linked to our county webpage, where the public can then go onto this portal, submit their request. It sets up workflows in the background, so all this will get transferred to the responsible departments. As the work gets processed, how this works is you can set parameters inside the software. It will search our network or it will search our email. It will pull those documents. It can handle the redaction loads that we're looking at without having to go through the task of having a staff member sit down and manually redact these in 100-page blocks. It also provides the requestor a status update as that's going through the process. They can see exactly where the request is and being processed. It notifies them both via email, and if they go into the public portal, they can see their request and see where it's at in a timeline of that. The other additional benefit to this is it archives this. They're allotting 2 terabytes of online storage, so any records requests that get processed will get stored in there. So like right now, if someone were come to ask us for a records request that's been asked for previously, somebody's still going to go back through, dig that previous request out, gather that up and send it out. This actually archives those requests, and the public can click an internet link and take them right into all those archives of all the public requests made of Monroe County up until that point. This does offer training throughout the whole duration of the contract. So as new staff comes on, Next Request, or Civic Plus rather, is the sponsoring company, will train those employees. There's plenty of demos, a knowledge base, and everything we need to make this successful. So while the county does a great job, county legal is always real quick on these requests. My department, the other departments, this takes out much of the manual labor that's having to be spent and frees up staff time to do their regularly appointed duties.
Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Githens.
It sounds like the savings in staff time alone will more than pay for this software.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, thanks for doing this. This is something that I think everyone in the county will end up appreciating. those requests can be a little bit overwhelming at times.
They can, and we've been looking for a couple of years now for a reliable product. The price point wasn't just astronomical. This represents that, and the nice thing with it is a 2-year agreement, but if we decide at the end of 12 months that we're not happy with the product, they will allow us to terminate with written notice 60 days early. So then we're off the hook for year 2 if we decide not to move forward with them.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, let's see if there is any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium and at U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Next Request Public Records Request Program signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, next item, please.
Move approval of the 2024 polling sites for the presidential primary election.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kylie Moreland, and I am presenting on behalf of the Monroe County Clerk, Nicole Brown. She is currently attending a Southern District Clerks Conference, so she couldn't attend today. At last week's election board meeting, election board members unanimously accepted the proposal of polling locations that was presented to you for the 2024 presidential primary and general election. I am here today to present those polling locations to you for your approval. As you review the list, we are excited that we will be sharing Meadowwood Retirement Center as a polling location again after the COVID pandemic. Me, the IT vendor, and the county clerk all went and previewed the location once again before approving, and we are excited to be going back there to bring back the residents so it's easier for them to vote and also for the surrounding community. With that, I am happy to answer any questions or concerns that you guys have with any of the polling locations.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Commissioner Gissens?
2 things. It sounds like we need to amend the motion because if what was written both in our packet and on the agenda was just for the primary election, but you just said that this was for the primary and the general, and I know if you have a location at the primary, you have to have the same location for the general.
Correct.
So I don't know that, Ms. Turner King, do we need to make this clear and specific that this is for primary and general? Because if it's the primary, then it's automatically the general. The motion reads primary election.
I think the clarity doesn't hurt, but I don't think it's necessary either. If it is the primary polling locations, it has to be statutorily the general as well.
Yeah. So you okay with leaving it, or do you?
Yeah, okay. But then the other thing is I know that
Thank you.
Last fall there was a problem at Bloomington High School South with accessibility because they changed the I think it was the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what kind of assurance can we give the public that there will not be a repetition of this problem?
So we actually went back to the location, and the original issue that was brought up there was the ramp, and we had gone out with our IT specialist who takes care of our elections. He also goes out and verifies all of our locations meet ADA guidelines and anything that could possibly cause an issue. When we did go there, we measured ramps, made sure that they were all ADA guideline accessible, and the doors that we used last year will be the same ones this year. I think the main issue was signage and people not knowing that it moved from the front of the school to the back of the school. So this year there will be more signage.
So does that mean it's at the back of the school?
Correct. It's in the white gym.
Okay. So can I ask, I know this is an outside IT group that the election board hires regularly to do this work. Are they the only one doing an ADA review?
No, we go out as a group, the clerk, and IT. We all go out to each of the polling locations to ensure that everything meets what we have to have with parking lots, doors, hallways, anything.
Great. The other question I have is related but not directly related. So I don't want to throw you at this, but is there going to be information on early voting released soon on the website?
Yes, it is. Will actually be posted today after this meeting once the locations are approved.
But for early voting too?
Early voting should have been posted, and it was posted last week.
Okay. Is that on the county website or on the clerk's own website?
No, it's the county website.
Okay. Thank you. All right, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the info. And it is good to be back at Meadowood. That's a good thing. All right, so let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. All right. Please.
Clarification. I'm sorry I didn't see this when I was going through it earlier. The church at 4545 East Lampkins Ridge Road, in the past it was Eastview Church of the Nazarene. Did that church's name change, or should that be a full thing? Because people have known it as the Eastview Church of Nazarene, and so I'm wondering.
Correct, and
again,
we
again,
can
for
make a
clarity.
change to that to the finalized polling list.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Just for,
Yeah.
again, to help our voters.
Yeah, it's a good idea. If you don't mind making that Scrivener's revision, that would be great.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. Good point. I don't see any public comment on this item. So with that, all those in favor of approving the 2024 polling sites for primary election signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Approval of the Indiana University MOU with probation, fund name JDAI Performance Bonus Grant, fund number 9146, and an amount not to exceed $5,000.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. McAfee, thank you for joining us.
Hello again, commissioners. Thank you for having me. This is another one of the MOUs through our performance bonus grant that we received from the state. This agreement is with obviously Indiana University, and we are partnering with them to develop and broaden the data collection that we get from the customers, our consumers, the kids and parents. There will be 3 different surveys provided. They will be anonymous. IU is going to kind of be the data holder, and then they will aggregate the data and give it back to us. And the questions include everything from the location to paid parking to the way that the building feels and courtroom experience. So we're super excited. This is a brand new adventure for us, and we're really eager to get the feedback and see what kinds of adjustments we can make to better serve our community.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens.
The whole program is so incredible for our community, and the fact that you're looking to make it an even better experience is just so heartening.
Commissioner Johns.
This sounds like it's going to be very interesting information. I know you have a dashboard and various ways of presenting your information. Will this be made in any way public?
That is an excellent question, and to be perfectly honest, we have not gotten that far in conversations, but I definitely will add it to what we talked about. And my initial sense is yes, but I don't know how and with what kind of regularity. But I think if it's information we're collecting, then there might be an interest in knowing what it is that we're hearing.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is another great tool for evidence-based service in our community. So great idea. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Indiana University Memorandum of Understanding with probation signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item, please.
Move approval of L&D Mail Masters for tax bill printing and mailing agreement. Fund name, County General, fund number 1,000 in an amount not to exceed $42,000.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Turner King is going to address this for us. Thank you.
This agreement is between L&D and the Treasurer's Office. It would be for the mailing of the tax bills and help fulfill the Treasurer's statutory obligation to process and prepare the tax statements.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
No, we see this pretty much every year.
Do. Commissioner Githens?
Yeah. It's rather necessary.
It is. It is. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the L&D Mail Masters for tax bill printing and mailing agreement signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right, thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of ordinance 2024-16 to amend ZOA Chapter 807 for signs.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second, and we have, I believe, Ms. Nestor Jelen joining us from planning to tell us about this. Or maybe not.
She's
is great.
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you for waiting.
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. This is ordinance 2024-16, which is a change to our signs ordinance. And the impetus for this change is to reflect recent case law and other legal outcomes that have come through. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through some of the track changes that we have in the packet, and you can let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could make the
Yes.
document fill that screen. Perfect. Thank you. Great. Thanks.
Yes. And so the strike through text and the red text are reflecting the changes. So the red text is additions, the strike through are the changes. So we have added a few changes under the purpose and intent, such as encouraging the types of signs that we would like to see promoted in the county, such as building signs, monument signs, and wall signs. We've also added, made sure that we reflected the requirement that we're content neutral and that we are only regulating time, place, and manner restrictions as it relates to signs. And we've also updated any state statute language to be compliant as well. The other change that we've made is in regards to making sure that our sign application criteria is clear for what constitutes a complete application and how to apply. So that's under section 807-3. And then we've also made a change under the requirements for temporary signs and exemptions to make that a bit more clear when you do and do not require a sign permit. And then getting to the point where we're required to have a time limit for how long we can review a sign permit application. So we are required to review a sign permit application within 12 business days and provide an answer to the applicant as to whether their permit has been approved or denied within that time period. So that section is addressed under 807-4. We've also added some illustrations to the ordinance to make sure that it's clear what the height restrictions are and as well as how you measure those restrictions. And then we've also added in language regarding the limitation of any sign restrictions based on zoning category. And then finally, we added several illustrations for how to measure signs on different sign types, and then illustrations for the different sign types. So I'll scroll through the next several pages fairly quickly. Do you have any questions regarding the changes?
Thank you so much, Ms. Nestor-John. Appreciate the clear explanation. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
No.
Commissioner Jones?
No, no, I don't. That was a very clear explanation.
Let's see if there's any public comment regarding this item. Please raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. You could be commenting in general, opposition, or support. Okay, seeing none, we'll come back to see if there are any further comments or questions from the board. Anything else, Commissioner Jones? Okay. All those in favor of approving ordinance 2024-16 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Move approval of vet environmental engineering agreement for Phase 1 environmental site assessment. Fund number, edit ban, fund name, edit ban, fund number 4816 in an amount not to exceed $4,750.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Purdy, tell us all about it.
Yes, good morning. As you and the council have all agreed that there are issues presented on the Thompson site, you have tasked staff with looking at additional sites and obtaining an environmental site assessment and a site recognizance of the property. And this agreement will provide for that for 2 parcels of land totaling approximately 56.12 acres. And those are located along West Hunter Valley Road and Bloomington in Monroe County, Indiana. And it is, we are not looking to purchase the totality of those 2 parcels. Actually, we're only looking at approximately 43 acres.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just that it's exciting to be moving ahead with this. All of this seems to have been taking a lot longer than we had initially anticipated.
Commissioner Githens?
I'm anxious to move forward with this and to, I think, get building started. One of the things I heard last night at the council meeting from the sheriff was that if they have to replace the elevator in the current building, it will take 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's 8 weeks without an elevator for moving food, for moving the folks that are there. Even today when we heard about clothing, all of that. And so we're spending a lot to keep the current facility limping along.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm anxious to get something new started.
Absolutely. Glad to be getting this part done, and I look forward to seeing what we can learn about this property from this study, and hopefully it works out. Fingers crossed, right? That's all you can do. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the vet environmental engineering agreement for Phase 1 environmental site assessment? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move approval of the Community Foundation of Bloomington Memorandum of Understanding, Fund Name, American Rescue Plan Act, Fund Number 8950, in an amount of $1,400,000.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Purdy.
Last year, actually, both you guys, the commissioners and the county council, met regarding the appropriation of some of the ARPA dollars, and this is finalizing that agreement. This will provide support to our community foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County. Their operations specific to addressing and responding to the need and opportunities of our community, and that agreement is for $1.4 million.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens.
I believe these funds are to support both the Heading Home program and the Smart Start program that benefits young children.
Commissioner Jones.
Yeah, this is a pretty wonderful thing to be able to do. Having this money to help out people like this has been a really positive thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that these are investments that are going to pay dividends for years to come for our community. So glad to do it. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand in Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Community Foundation of Bloomington Memorandum of Understanding for ARPA signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We're almost there in the home stretch. Next item, please.
Move approval of Karst Farm Greenway Connector Memorandum of Understanding with the City of Bloomington.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Turner King, if you tell us about it, please.
The Highway Department is moving forward with the Karst Farm Greenway Connector, and the construction will impact certain sections of Liberty and Constitution Avenue, both of which are within city jurisdiction. So this MOU will transfer portions of Liberty and Constitution Avenue to the county jurisdiction. However, the city will maintain preventative and regular maintenance of those highways, and the city and the county will coordinate on the permitting process so that no work is permitted on Liberty and Constitution that would interfere or impact the county's projects. So this is an MOU just setting the terms forth for the transfer of the property and who's maintaining it during that time.
Thank you so much. Comments, questions? Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, this is fairly exciting to be adding to our overall trail network, which is growing all the time. And it's a nice opportunity to cooperate with the city.
Comments, questions? Commissioner Githens?
On our request form, it indicates that the city's Public Board of Works was to have considered this yesterday. Do you know what the status is?
I don't know the status because I haven't checked on it since the council meeting last night, but I can happily check.
Just wondered. I was at the council meeting some too last night. So.
This is one of those things that always flies under the radar because it doesn't make exciting news because there's not a big bunch of conflict or gossip or whatever. So yeah, it's great. I like it when this works with collaboration. So. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium in Nat U Hill. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Karst Farm Greenway Connector MOU with the City of Bloomington signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Move approval of System Navigator Grant Extension and Data Entry MOU. Fund name, System Navigator Grant, fund number 9160, and an amount of $9,000.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Turner King.
This agreement is, so back in 2021, the Public Defender's Office received a grant from the Public Defender's Commission, which helps with the CHINS, which is a child in need of service case, and termination of parental rights cases. As part of that agreement, the Public Defender's Office employs an independent contractor to collect and provide data to the Public Defender's Commission on the CHINS and TPR cases. And so this agreement, the first agreement being considered, is an extension of the independent contractor's agreement into 2024. We had an agreement in 2022 and 2023. It's just that agreement ended before we extended it. So we just thought it was less confusing to do a whole new agreement rather than an amendment after the fact.
Great, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
No, I'm pleased that this is happening.
Commissioner Jones?
No, I think it's good to get this straightened out.
Yeah. Thank you for working on this. That must have been a little like, the whole unknotting 1,000 knots and yeah. All right, let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Raise your hand on Teams or come to the podium. And Nat U. Hill. Right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the System Navigator grant extension and data entry MOU signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you all so much. Yes.
For clarity, so there's kind of a three-part to this agenda item. So the first is the data entry, and then the second is the second and third item is actually approving the Navigator contract with this Public Defender's Commission from 2021 to 2022. So we're retroactively approving it. And then the third item is to approve the extension of the Navigator grant into the 2024. This was something the auditor's office requested us to do as they're working through grant funding invoices. And so just for clarity, they wanted to make sure the commissioners approved the contract.
But that's all under the heading of what we just did.
It is.
Are you asking us to make another motion and to do something else?
I think it might be, for clarity purposes, a second motion might be good, and I would propose a motion that just is to retroactively approve the System Navigator grant from December 31st to 2022, December 31st of 21 to 2022, and then the extension of that grant to 2024.
Yeah, but do we have a Scrivener's error here then that says that it's from December 13th, 2021?
It's 30.
It's supposed to be December 31st.
December 31st or 13th? I thought I saw 13th in the packet itself too somewhere, but okay.
I'm checking the date. I think it is the 13th.
So there are actually three amounts, not the 9,000 either, right?
Well, but those amounts have already been
expended.
So I wouldn't do the amounts. I would just.
Yeah, we did the 9,000.
If you don't mind making a motion.
I move that we retroactively approve the Public Defender's Office agreement with System Navigator for December 13th, 2021 to December 31st, 2022.
And to extend the grant
through the end of 2024.
Perfect. Great. We have a motion?
Second.
Thank you so much. We do have a motion. We have a second, and we've already heard about it. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the grant retroactively and extending it through the end of 2024 signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. All right, we don't have any appointments today, but I do have a few announcements, and I will be as quick as possible. There is a public meeting scheduled for Fullerton Pike Phase 3. This will be held on Monday, March 25th. I believe the time got moved to 5 p.m. instead of 5:30. That's at Bachelor Middle School cafeteria. If you're unable to attend, you can submit questions to Fullerton Pike updates at dlz.com. Just keep an eye on the Highway Department on the county website for more information. You can get COVID testing and vaccines at the Health Department, 333 East Miller Drive, and tests are available at 119 West 7th Street, which is our Health Department office. We are always accepting applications for boards and commissions. Go to co.monroe.in.us for more information to fill it out. We do appreciate all the residents who dedicate their time and experience to help make Monroe County government better. We do have virtual office hours every month for 6 hours. So if you wish to speak with one of us, go to the calendar at co.monroe.in.us and click on that to see the available dates and times. This is done via Teams and not recorded. We do have some blood drive dates coming up. Thursday, April 4th, 1 to 6 p.m. Friday, April 5th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. These are at Ivy Tech, Shreve Hall, 200 Daniels Way. And please make an appointment at redcross.org. There is an urgent need for blood products in our community. Residents should consider signing up for our resident alert notification system at co.monroe.in.us. Click on the megaphone, especially with severe weather season and the upcoming eclipse. You will be wanting to get messages, especially of an urgent nature. So please do sign up. You can receive text calls and or emails for your alerts. We do have a rural housing repair project opportunity through American Rescue Plan Act dollar funding. Please contact your township trustee if you live outside the city, and they will help you file the application paperwork. These are for homeowner occupied homes in our community where some basic repairs are needed, but the low or moderate income homeowner cannot afford them. Think carpentry, HVAC, windows, doors, etc., roofs, all that good stuff. So the one note here, of course, is if you live in Perry Township outside the city, we ask you just to contact Monroe County Commissioners directly for assistance with that application. And just a reminder, as we saw at the beginning of the meeting, which seems like it was hours ago, and it was only a couple hours ago, that there is an upcoming broadband challenge, that we are a local challenger, and as such, you will be receiving further information in your mailboxes, but we do encourage folks to drop by co.monroe.in.us to learn more. It will be on our homepage for the duration, and we have to do this before April 14th is our local deadline. And lots more information there, and we appreciate everyone's participation and helping out friends and neighbors who may need some help. Anything else for the good of the order?
On the broadband challenge, there will be a phone number too that you can call if you need assistance, and I think it's on staff, but they'll be taking messages and can call you back, if I remember right.
Anything else? Okay. All right. With that, we are adjourned, but we do have a work session. Can we come back at 11:55 for that? Is that okay? Great. All right. So we are adjourned. Our next meeting, we are not meeting on the 20th, but we are meeting on the 27th. That's our next commissioners meeting. And then our next, we will come back for our work session at 11:55. Thanks, everyone. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. This is the Monroe County Board of Commissioners work session for March 13th, 2024. First item on our agenda is Mr. Myers, ordinance 2024-13, Taylor rezone.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Got a little bit of feedback. Hold on. All right. So this is REZ 23-7. It is the zoning map amendment from State Residential 1 to Light Industrial. It is the Taylor rezone. Go back to the screen here. It's located at 6610 West State Road 48. It's 9.08 acres, and it's in Van Buren Township, Section 3. It's unplatted, and the comprehensive plan has it designated as McCua Rural Transition. Let's see here. Go to the summary. Overall, the petitioner is seeking to rezone the property from State Residential 1 to Light Industrial with the purpose of establishing a business or industrial center to incorporate both general contractor and heavy machinery sales on the petition site. Please see Exhibit 3 for the conceptual site plan provided by the petitioner. That's in your packet. Should the rezone be approved by the County Board of Commissioners, the petitioner intends to file a commercial site plan to be reviewed administratively by the Planning Department. All right. If denied, the property would remain zoned to State Residential 1, where the use of general contractor and heavy machinery sales is not permitted. So the petitioner and the property owner, petitioner is Dusty Taylor of Taycon Contracting, and the property owner is Brian Rental Incorporated. They came into the office and scheduled a meeting with myself to discuss the rezone process and the commercial site plan process for developing this site in November. And we put them on the path to this rezone application before you. So I'm going to keep scrolling here. I have the definitions for general contractor and heavy machine sales, as well as business or industrial center included here. Basically, the activity that will be going on the site, they are a general contractor, as well as they were wanting to sell and rent machinery attachments. So think those types of attachments that go on to medium and small contracting equipment, like backhoe things, dozer looking attachments, those sorts of things. So they're not necessarily selling full size machinery. At least that is what they articulated to me in these meetings and through the application and petition process. But in order to best fit that classification or business activity, the classification that fits that best is machinery sales. That's what I'm getting at. So to have both of those on one site constitutes a business or industrial center use, and that particular use would be permitted in the light industrial zoning district. So I also included information about the State Residential 1 district as well as light industrial here. And here's the location map, 6610 West State Road 48. This hatching that you see on the screen here, that is the airport noise sensitivity area. And that is just an area on the map that indicates areas where the airport director would prefer not to have new residential developments with respect to airport activities. So if you were to zoom out, you would see that these areas fall in line with the flight paths for approach and departure to the Monroe County Airport. All right, for the screens loading here. Okay, adjacent uses. Here's the zoning map. We have a mineral extraction to the north and northwest. We have RE 2.5 to the south, RE1 to the, that would be the west. Agricultural Rural Reserve to the north and northeast. We have a small general business parcel there, catty corner to the property. And then, of course, we have the airport to the south and southeast. I'm going to zoom out just a smidge. Maybe that'll help us with loading here. Okay, site conditions. This is one of the big discussion points for the site. There are several sinkholes on the property. It's not in the DNR floodplain at all or in the eco area, the environmental constraints area. So there's nothing to worry about there. But the petitioner is well aware of the locations of the sinkholes. And actually a part of the condition of approval put forth by the Plan Commission under staff's recommendation was to submit a karst report before site plan approval. So that would get a review from planning staff and stormwater through the site plan process. We do have a comment from Kelsey Thetonia, MS4 coordinator here, articulating that the property is located within the Cave Creek critical watershed and that they will need to comply with Chapter 761 and critical watershed release rates when they get to the commercial site plan process. And that will require additional water quality treatment measures based on the use and I imagine the amount of pervious cover that will be placed on the site as part of their use. So here on the screen, the site conditions map, you can kind of see some of those sinkhole features that I'm highlighting here with my mouse. Okay. Just some site pictures here. I'm going to scroll through these. It's very wooded at the time. There is an existing residence on the property. I believe that it is vacant. They will, I believe, likely remove that structure. I'd have to look back at their conceptual plans. At the formal session, the petitioner will be present and will be able to answer any questions related to the use of the site, as well as its current condition as well. I'm just trying to get to some of these exhibits here towards the end. Comprehensive plan, Makua Rural Transition, which states portions of the urbanizing area primarily to the east and south are not suitable for intensive development due to access, infrastructure, and environmental constraints. This section using the gray and green, gray for not very much in line with the proposed use and rezone, and the green being fairly in line with the proposed use and rezone to light industrial. So I'm just going to continue scrolling through here. Here's that comprehensive plan map. Makua Rural Transition is the district. Findings of fact, all through here, it's all in the packet. I'll provide a PowerPoint for the formal session. Okay. Here we have the letter to the Plan Commission and Board of Commissioners articulating their request for the two uses of general contractor and heavy machinery sales, again, which would constitute as a business or industrial center on this property. And a little bit about the petitioner, Dusty Taylor, owner of Tacon Construction and Excavating. A little bit about him and his work in the county here. And then consent letter from the property owner. And then there's some versions of conceptual site plans towards the bottom here that I wanted to touch on. Okay, I think there's an updated one towards the very end. Bear with me while we continue to scroll through here. So you can kind of see from the slope map here, again, where the locations of those sinkholes are. And they've broken it up into phase 1 and 2. of the use of the site and some planned or proposed areas for construction. There's one plan at the end where they show a building on phase 1. If I can get to it. Okay, here's the use table for RE1, fairly limited uses for that district. And of course, light industrial uses, there's a lot more uses available in this district. So that is something to consider. And then, oh, okay. Looks like it got missed from being added. I'll make sure it's in the formal session packet. Basically, all it is it's a very similar version of the conceptual site plans that you saw on these screens, except they have a proposed building outlined in this general area on phase 1 for just a planning of a proposed location. So overall, the Plan Commission voted to forward this on with a positive recommendation. And that was voted 7-0 with that condition of approval that the petitioner submit a CARS report for review by the MS4 coordinator prior to site plan approval. I will now take any questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, we recently had a rezone issue where there were karst and sinkholes, well, sinkholes rather, involved. And I really would like to have assurances that we're not going to have disturbances in these areas. As Commissioner Jones noted the last time, we'd rather have people coming for approval rather than asking for forgiveness.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, who actually performs the karst study?
That's a good question. There's a number of consulting firms that I believe that could perform that. Potentially VET Environmental or some other karst professional that would be able to produce such a report.
Thank you.
All right. So we are not meeting next week, but I think our agenda on the 27th is rather full. So I wonder how what my colleagues think about moving this into April. So that would be April 3rd. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, we're not outside the time limit for doing this, right?
Yeah, no, we're still good.
I won't be here for that meeting.
I
don't know that matters.
Okay, we could do it on the 10th.
It doesn't matter to me.
10th? Will you be back there? We typically don't hear from a petitioner at our work session. Thank you. So April 10th, does that work for you, Mr. Myers?
That works for me.
Perfect. Petitioner, April 10th? Yes. Great. Thank you. All right, good. All right, so we'll come back for April 10th on this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item, Mr. Smith. This is kind of a review. We're talking about where things go on this Whaley rezone 2024-04. Thank you for coming back with this. What do you have for us?
Yeah, let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay, how's that look on your end?
It's good. It could be a little bigger. If you could fill the screen with the paper, that'd be great.
Yes.
Thank you. Great.
Okay, so this is just kind of a recap, but so at the last commissioners meeting on March 6th, 2024, the commissioners requested clarification from the MS4 coordinator regarding concerns about the boat and RV storage on site not being covered, as well as general concerns regarding storage areas in proximity to the existing sinkholes at this site. So I've included the MS4 coordinator's response in this packet, and this is Kelsey Thetonia. So this was her response, and I can just read it aloud here. And actually, we do have some follow-up information that I can include as well. But anyways, she is stating that any impervious surface, so that includes gravel, will require a treatment measure before discharging to a sinkhole. So it may be worth noting this on the outline plan so that they have some storage area taken up by a stormwater feature. So she did indicate that it would be nice to have a clearly delineated existing gravel area, particularly around sinkhole A, but I did want to include her follow-up email that she had initially missed that, and she clarified that she sees that they had delineated that existing gravel around sinkhole A, but she did include a comment about a 25-foot vegetative buffer, and she agrees that that would be a good idea. Kind of going through her responses here. So she would be supportive of that vegetative buffer, and speaking with K&S Roll-Off, the owner, Keith, he had indicated that he would be amendable to that. So that is something that we can certainly look for in the development plan stage. But Kelsey also went further in discussion, stating that for the area designated as vehicular storage, so this is in regards to boat and RV, they would require stormwater treatment measures such as retrofitting filters in the existing area drains, as well as modifying the existing bioretention or adding new bioretention. But she did not see anything in her current ordinance that would require a vehicle storage area to be covered. Do the commissioners have questions about anything that has been stated by Kelsey thus far?
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
I think I need more time to take a closer look at this.
Commissioner Githens?
Is SCA a sinkhole? What is that? I don't know what an SCA
Yeah,
is.
so SCA.
Okay.
So we draw
Yeah,
that.
so SCA stands for Sinkhole Conservancy.
Okay. So I can't tell from this whether or not it would or would not be converted into vegetation. I know she said she didn't want it to any disturbance, but
Yeah, so I can share. Sorry, I got some feedback on my end. I can share this email that she had followed up with us late last evening. So just reading this aloud, she couldn't make it today, but she wanted to provide like a written documentation of our conversation. So she had mentioned that she can evaluate any new development plan for detention or water quality requirements. But when she had taken this to Drainage Board last year, their main topic of discussion was how to mitigate the filling of the sinkholes. And that's when they had decided to fill gravel or allow the present fill of gravel and concrete, et cetera, to remain in order to minimize further impacts to those sinkholes. They had Bynum Fanyo do an analysis of the sinkhole capacity to ensure it wouldn't overtop during a large rain event. At the Drainage Board meeting, they didn't discuss detailed plans for the detention or water quality because K&S didn't at the time have definitive plans to present to them. But for the purposes of the proposed storage units that were being proposed at the time, they were going to ask that a bioretention area be included and reviewed with those detailed plans. They didn't talk about requiring bioretention for gravel areas added in recent years. And in this correspondence, she had discussed with engineer Bill Williams and said that Keith would be agreeable to creating that vegetative buffer between the roll-off storage areas and the sinkholes. And so that's just the correspondence that I've got from Kelsey.
So just to remind folks where we're at, we are here specifically to talk through condition number 6, to ratify condition number 6 of 2024-04. We've already pass the other portions of this ordinance and we have also denied 2024-04B, which relates specifically to allowing disturbance in sinkhole areas. So this is specifically about condition 6, quote, storage shall be limited to the areas shown in Exhibit A and shall be limited to the types of materials listed for each of the areas on the attached Exhibit B. So this is all we're doing. And we need to be sure that that's our focus, because the rest of this has already been mostly approved and denied just for those 2 sinkholes. So is there, and normally I appreciate that we have a petitioner here, but this is a work session and we don't typically hear from petitioners, but I appreciate that you're here because something may come up and we may ask a question. So thank you for being here anyway. So what other information do my colleagues feel that they need to proceed to ratifying condition number 6? It's okay.
I might also add, Sean, if you could show Exhibit 7 of the packet.
It
On
is
page 79.
Page 31 of the packet has the list of conditions. The full list.
Yes. Just want to clarify something for.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nestor Jelen.
I'm sorry, Jackie, what page number did you say?
On the on my copy is page 79 of the packet to the commissioners, but yours it would be I'm not sure which page. I can share my screen if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, I can stop sharing mine.
Is it the enforcement letter?
It is the enforcement letter.
Okay.
So I just want to give a little bit of background.
Okay, great.
So on this enforcement letter, it's showing the ordinance as it was originally approved. This dark black line where my cursor is was the original limits to any disturbance on this lot. There was an amendment made when there was disturbance proposed, and it created this red line of disturbance. Now what we have in front of you is even further disturbance that has been done after the fact. And if you zoom in on sort of a higher quality resolution, you can see that this outline does show the existing gravel limits. It's kind of hard to see. So they're not permitted to add any further disturbance in any area west of this original line, except for what you specifically allow under site plan B. So I just want to make that clear, and we can have them add this line if it would be helpful, so that it's clear that there's been some questions back and forth, because I think we just want to make sure that they understand that the existing disturbance is all that can remain. That is the ceiling, and there may even be some changes because of the drainage review under the development plan to scale back some of this storage area to allow for things like vegetative buffers or possible bioretention when that review begins and they give us more in-depth information. So I just want to provide that context as well.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and if it can be added to item 6 of conditions, that would be helpful for us, because we've already done everything except we needed to ratify item 6. And is the petitioner, if you would mind, are you agreeable to that being added to a map as part of condition 6?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Awesome. These are the things you can get done. All right, good. Okay, so we can hear this on the 27th. If you all are able, yes? Can this come back for March 27th with that? I love the idea of having that map in there and that line drawn. That was so useful. That would be great. Is that possible to bring this back? So it would go on a regular agenda for ratification of item 6 in 2024-04A. Okay,
Got it.
thank
Yep,
you.
yep.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Nestor-Jelen, too. You work together well, and it shows. Thank you. Great. Anything else
you.
for our work session? All right. Thank you again. All right, we are adjourned. Everyone be well, and we'll be back here potentially on the 27th, if all goes well.